Welcome to We Are the People with Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who ask you to know what's happening with your student loan. Tracy and Jorge keep a deep look at student loans in this country and the industries that surround it. Every week, the current system is built to infringe upon them. Join the conversation by visiting our website chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Or call the show at 888-565-1470 and let us hear from you. And now, let's tune in to Tracy and Jorge for this week's discussion.
Good evening. It's Tracy Marks and no Jorge. We're here at the WNN studio live. That's 1470 on the AM dial, or you can find us on the web at wearethepeople.tv. It's right around 7 o'clock on a Monday night. And before we get started with the show, I just had a quick announcement that I wanted to make sure and get out there. I don't know how many of you out there are following the TPP, which is the big trade agreement they're trying to fast track. Before I go on and announce this, I want to clarify that it's not about not having this trade agreement. We need trade agreements, obviously. The whole issue with this is the whole fast track. And the problem with fast track, it's not just this president that's going to be able to fast track these kind of things. It's going to be presidents for years to come. This is not just a one-time thing. So this is really not the kind of power that you want one individual to have. So there's been a lot of back and forth about this. Huge cuts to Medicaid if this thing goes through. People are not happy about it, but then a lot of people are very happy about it. The corporations stand to make a lot of money. And of course, they have a lot of people to pay. So if they give them a raise, that could be a good thing. However, I don't really see that happening. Anyway, Stop Fast Track team has put together a call tonight. This is an emergency call because, as you may or may not know, the Fast Track House members think they have the votes to push this through this week. They're going to vote for it on June 11th. So that's Thursday. They plan to vote on Thursday. There's a link on the House calendar if you are into that kind of thing and you want to look that up. So the Popular Resistance and other allies have been holding rallies at least twice a week recently, trying to really push this thing, both in district and around the country in D.C. And this week, if this is something you're against, you need to step up and do something about that because it's almost over. And once it's done, very hard to take back. And like I said, it's not about not having the trade agreement. It's about one person having the power to fast track something like this. Okay? So it's beyond Obama. Okay? Now the call is tonight. It's an emergency call. They're going to have several speakers, and then they're going to do question and answers afterwards. They're going to have Elisa Simmons, who's the Deputy Director of Public Citizens Global Trade Watch, Margaret Flowers, who's founder of the Popular Resistance Flush the TPP campaign, and then Celeste Drake, Trade and Globalization Policy Specialist with the AFL-CIO. And also Andrea Miller, who's the executive director of People Demanding Action. So these people are all going to be speaking. They're going to give the views on the TPP and tell you what you can do, how you can do it. So stopping the June 11th fast track tonight, the call is 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain, or 5 p.m. Pacific Time. It's going to be an hour. Okay, and you're going to have to dial in this number, 605-562-3140. Again, that is 605-562-3140. When we put the replay up, we're going to try to get that on the screen so you guys can look it up. Also, you need an access code. The access code is 951146. 951146. Again, the phone number 605-562-3140. Access code 951146. 1146. This is phone only. They're not doing a meeting room. So just call in, listen, and they'll have people there to answer your questions at the end. They're going to do a short Q&A. All right, so that being said, our guest tonight, you hear the commercials every week, is Sonia Munjal from Youthful Savings. We're going to talk about the nonprofit that I've been working on. So we will be back after these messages.
Youthful Savings creates and delivers innovative financial education products through a virtuous approach in order to disrupt the cycle of poverty. We provide affordable college planning solutions through our Financial Freedom web application and program, youth financial education and entrepreneurship training through our My Own Business Challenge curriculum and program, and group youth programs that teach entrepreneurship and financial education. 10 cents of every dollar earned is reinvested into the communities saved through the Youth College Scholarship. For more information, please go to www.youthfulsavings.com. Email at info@youthfulsavings.com or call 646-504-7164. CPA for the People provides CPA services and business consulting for innovative creators. Collaborative, personal, affordable. We specialize in tax consulting, business consulting, financial statement compilation, and personal finance. For more information, please go to www.cpaforthepeople.com or call at area code 630-244-7893. You're listening to We Are the People with social justice advocates Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, exposing the faults in our current day society with industries that directly influence student loans. Join the conversation by calling into the studio at 888-565-1470 or join the chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Again, to call in, the number is 888-565-1470 and let us hear your voice. Now, back to our show.
And we're back. And Sonia should be here any moment. Is she there?
I am here.
All right. How are you? There. I see you now.
You're doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. Your work goes hand in hand with what I'm trying to do, so that works out really well.
Absolutely.
So, Sonia, you know, this girl was my inspiration to keep going and to start this. You know that, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it goes both ways. So do you want to give a little brief about what you're working on? Because I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. Well, basically, the nonprofit, of course, we have to stand up and do something at one point in time. You know, the politicians, they just argue between themselves too much. So I think it's time that we take a stand as citizens around the United States and try to help the students ourselves. There's a lot of people suffering, and one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to use like an AARP model. We're going to have memberships, okay, for both students and corporations. And with that, we're going to, of course, like AARP, there'll be the different discounts of stuff they can get. But we want to go a little bit more in depth. We want to help them either save an existing business or create their own or get back into the workplace.
Yeah, what I really am excited about with Student Services Society, your new not-for-profit, is that it's a grassroots movement, and I really fundamentally believe that that's probably the only way to actually serve the public. So I do agree with you about the politicians. I'm not saying that every politician is a bad human, but given my time in D.C. and my efforts with Youthful Savings, I quickly realized that there are a lot of self-serving interests, and I'm not about that. So we are just trying to help the youth, and so the only thing that we can do is we can provide a coalition / membership for youth to kind of join in and, you know, get their finances on track while they're in college, and or, you know, if you're a graduate and need help with either your student loans or you just don't understand what's going on, we're just trying to build a movement of, like, support. And so I think that that's really important. And then somewhere down the line, some politician thinks that what we're doing is great for them to get reelected, then that would be amazing.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's really kind of how it works. So, given the fact that I'm 30 and part of this new generation, I just don't have the time and energy to spend going through the network and the system that's already been created. And so the only thing I can do is, work with the youth that, is suffering. And honestly, I think that we are going through white-collar poverty. No one really wants to talk about it, but it's a real thing. So recently a good friend of mine brought one of his mentees over, a nice boy that was 24 years old, working for an investment bank. And he was like, the Thursday before I get paid, I don't eat. Literally, the boy does not eat. He's 24 years old. He's working for an investment bank in Chicago, Illinois, and he does not have enough money after he pays his rent, pays his insurance, and pays his whopping student loan bill. That's over $200,000 that he took out, unfortunately, to go to school. And if the education's just not there, it's hard. So I think that what you're trying to do is absolutely amazing, and I'm really excited to be on board. And I just hope that, I know and hope that, people see the value in it, because I just don't know what else to do. I think what we're doing comes from a place of there's a need, and so we're just trying to fulfill that need, and that all comes from a place of what we experience.
Absolutely. And so what we will need is different people that are willing to step in and help us do this. It kind of like want to fill the gaps between the Small Business Administration and what they lacked in college.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, I just don't think there are, and what I love about Youthful Savings that we do is we just help people, and we don't charge a lot. We just do what we need to do to help you and fill in the gap. And the thing that occurs too often is that organizations like the Small Business Association, or whatever it's called, administration, they just get so big that there just becomes too much red tape,
Well, there's also the fact that, they've lost their teeth. The program's basically been gutted. The language is changed.
Yeah,
they don't have the power or the backing that they used to have.
Right. When I was looking for funding to start Youthful Savings, people had often, Jorge actually was like, just go get a loan from the SBA.
Oh, God.
And it sucks. I don't want to go do that.
Well, the loans don't amount to much now.
They don't. Well, it's not that they don't amount to much. It's just that.
But they don't.
Really, listen, what it comes down to is you have to show a certain story in order to get it. And I just believe in the truth. And I just don't think that life should exist where there isn't truth. And I think too often when organizations that are meant to help become too big, we just lose that. And so there's, and I just really believe in the grassroots movement. I think some of the most amazing things that have come out of our history have been grassroots of just normal people coming together, building a movement, and doing something really meaningful for society, and being kind of detached, not necessarily keeping the passion, but being really detached from what's going to happen. It's just more about just being in the moment and doing what you think is right for the people. And so I'm really excited about Student Services Society. I'm excited to see how it evolves. I'm glad that, we're in the beginning steps, and, I'm looking forward to the feedback that we receive from it, because that will only allow us to evolve it more to be of service to the people that we meant for it to be.
Yes. Well, and we want to start by educating the youth as early as 8th grade. So we want to do, that's where the Youthful Savings end of it comes in, because I plan on using your model there for that. And, we do want to go national eventually. There are students suffering all over the place. I was on one of the student loan groups 2 days ago, and there was 2 people that were very suicidal. They've lost everything. They're losing their apartments. They've lost their partners. One guy lost his dog 2 months ago, and he goes, "That was the only non-judgmental love in my life," And I'm laughing, but it's not at all funny. It's just really sad. And these are not people that borrow giant amounts of money. This is what it grew into, because they've lived life and things have gone wrong. That happens. And there's no room for error with the student loan system.
there just isn't. And, what I really love about what you're doing with Student Services Society is the dual approach of both being proactive and reactive. And I think that is really necessary. So with your proactive approach of helping the younger kids and teaching them so they don't make the same mistakes that the older people did.
Yeah, we have to get them educated better before they get into this, definitely.
Right.
I'd like to hear us in every school in America talking about this because people just don't realize. And even when you do, you think you can overcome it,
Yeah,
but then
and I think
it's one car crash, one cancer, one,
Yep. It's just, and like I mentioned to you earlier, I've had some very honest conversations with people that run schools, and the truth of the matter is that the current system does not show the need for financial education or for economic empowerment. If you look at the core standards that are currently like the big buzz in education, Common Core, is there anything in there about financial education?
No, not at all.
Yeah, and look, I'm a tax accountant as well, right? So I know what the real deal is. It may seem on your 1040 that you are getting a deduction for interest. That is what the game is, right? America wants you to continue spending money so that the GDP grows, so that you're out there.
I've never got my deduction. I don't make enough.
Well, and that's fine, but I guess it's not. You're not also paying that much in taxes. But what I'm really kind of concerned about is the fact that the middle class is decreasing more and more, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I just think that that is just happening because of our economic systems that we made up essentially not too long ago, because America is a very young country. And so the fact that and there's a really good in the latest edition of the economic magazine, it clearly talks about how America is set up to be a debt society, and at some point that does burst. We saw it happen with the subprime mortgage litigation issue that was occurring.
And that's exactly what's happening with student loans.
And we'll see with the student loans, and it's just a matter of time of when that pops. And it's sad, but it's just kind of what we deserve. In all honesty, as a common group of humans, we deserve that lesson.
Well, we need the lesson apparently. But it's really been rough. One of the things that we want to do is to buy student loan debt, whether we pair up with somebody like, Strike Debt that's working with the Corinthian.
And I think philanthropy will go a long way. I think that, if we can get some of the really great foundations that are out there that are looking to seriously serve humans at a small, at a very personal level, I think that it'll go a long way to get their support. But I think it's going to really take a little bit of an altruistic approach to get this done. It cannot be self-serving. And unfortunately, from my little experience that I have in politics and living in D.C., it's just this is what I get, this is what you get. I think television is showing that with Scandal.
Oh yeah, I can't even watch TV anymore.
Yeah, right. Thank you, media, for finally telling the truth. Because that is important, and that's why I fully support what you're doing. And I think that the truth is hard to hear, but it's important for us to hear. And I think the younger we are, the more that we learn about how our system operates and what we can do to disrupt it, to live well as humans, is very necessary, and that's why I'm very excited about everything you're doing.
That's why I don't watch TV anymore, because it is too close. It gets me frustrated, when I to watch that. I just can't do it, so I have to do something positive instead. So, and what I want to do also with this, my favorite part is we're going to institute a pay it forward system. Our tagline is pay it forward, one student at a time. So we want to develop where we have a lot of community engagement, where we have different people that can, offer the services of building websites, helping, put a PR program together, enough to get them started, to sort of train them like you would a franchise. Of course, it's going to be all different businesses, but, if we can just get the community involved, and then have a pay it forward, and then the students that are helped, say, because look at like Taylor, she was on the show and, it turned her business around. She was able to stay in business as opposed to going back to work for $8 an hour.
Right.
And she even got to do an online magazine.
Yeah.
So now she's got experience too.
Well, I was waiting. I was listening to Haley, and she was beautiful, everything that she was saying. And I think that it's really important for us to understand that pay it forward model, not necessarily just like, for what I'm going to get out of it, but what I'm going to get out of it spiritually. And I think that it is very true. The more you give, the more you get. And so I think that it's going to be amazing to really see if that comes through. And I think that my generation and the generation underneath us are really excited about that movement. And I think that we're in a place where the shared economy system like Airbnb and Uber and Lyft, all those great companies that kind of just have you say that you can do what you want to do, if you have with the resources you have and you can make some money. And I think if we could just kind of work with that momentum, but also be able to help both students that are currently in college, approaching college, younger, and then also those that are currently suffering. I'm afraid to suffer.
And we want to do that with different events and stuff, and either offer money with these events, either be buying debt or if, trying to help with grants for people to pay off part of their debt or at least get that interest paid off, or scholarships, depending on what age they are. And that'll all be part of the Pay It Forward program too. So say we have web designers come in, they're going to help design websites for people, once they get out, once they get through the program. And I think that, we'll have our financial training as long as, if they want to, they can always get the discounts, but if they want the services of the community coming together to support them, then they need to support the community back,
Yeah, and I think that, this is all very much in the early stage, and so our first focus right now is to do a small Indiegogo campaign so that we can raise enough money to actually file all the paperwork. As many of you may know, the 501c3 process is not easy. It's pretty laborious. It's also very costly because you pay the government quite a bit of money. But our intention is definitely just to be a support network for the youth and for those that have suffered from student loans. And I just kind of want to
And that includes the mental and the legal end of it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's very, very important. People are, they're just not doing well. Thank God for the support groups on the website, because that's the one safe place where people can go and cry. You know what I mean? Because
and
people don't want to hear you with this.
Right. And I run a CPA firm, and it is very difficult for me to get people comfortable with me to talk very openly and honestly about their finances. And so, it requires a lot of training on my end, honestly. And also, people need to feel safe talking about money. It's not something that's sexy to do, right? It's not sexy to be like, I'm broke.
Right. No, it's not at all.
So, it's just not. And so therefore, it's going to be incredibly important for us to, really get this thing going and to really create a movement and to, really just talk about the things that people need to talk about. And I think that the possibilities are endless, but in the beginning, I think it's just incredibly important that we stick to our mission and the vision that you've created. And I think you'll have a website out soon so people can understand.
Yeah, I have a friend that's donated the website. We're a little not sure about the end for the whole PayPal and that kind of stuff. He hasn't actually done that. He does beautiful websites, but he hasn't done that end. So I don't know if we're going to end up needing help or how that's going to work. But
and I think that's a great notion about the help. If anybody is interested in taking a part of this, you can contact Tracy directly with whatever.
Yeah, my email's not up there, but it's thetracymarks@yahoo.com. That's T as in Tracy, H as in house, E as in elephant, and then my name, TRACYMARKS @yahoo.com.
Yeah, and so I think I'm really, really excited about it. I'm honored that you asked me to help you with it, and I hope that it goes incredibly far.
Well, we need that passion from the, you bring out the passion in the kids. I love your program. That's, we met. It was like we were both snarky to each other.
Yeah, I know. You know,
You were
it's-
hacked
you know,
or something like that. I'm like, what is this? And then I'm like, but wait a minute, I want to hear about that.
Honesty is always beautiful. I'll never be upset at anybody if someone's just freaking honest.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're cueing in the music, Sonia.
Yeah, you need to feel what you
Hustle
feel,
here
and I think
and
that that's
hustle
what
there.
this
New
is all
York
about.
City is
It's
the
like,
place where they said, hey, babe.
Join us next week, 7 o'clock. We are the people.tv or 1470 on the AM dial here in South Florida. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
You have been listening to We Are the People with social advocates Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who every week bring to the light the needs and changes in our current system. Tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. on wearethepeople.tv and participate in the conversation in the chat room or call 888-565-1470. Tune in next Monday for more information and facts. And Tracy and Jorge remind you to stay aware of your surroundings and challenges at all times.